Diatonic Harmony Part 2. Okay, so what is diatonic harmony? We talked about that in our last video. We have essentially a toolbox of chords we can use in a certain key that will sound good together. And here's what we have. The 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, and 7 chord. That doesn't really mean anything by itself, so let's talk about the individual functions of each of those. So the different functions of these chords, essentially they can do one of 3 things. They can establish a sense of familiarity or home, or they can establish a sense of unfamiliarity, or they can establish a sense of longing. And when I say a sense of familiarity and home, I'm referring to something that in music they call the tonic function. Okay, so 1 chord, 3 chord, and 6 chord. And I'm just playing them in that order. It doesn't really matter what order you play them in. But yeah, this is that function of home. If you're playing in C major, which remember the chords are based off of the C major scale, your home is that C chord, or that C tonality. This is the key you're in. Right? There's all your diatonic triads of C major. So your tonic ones are the 1, your 3, and your 6. If you were just to write a whole song using these, it might be kind of boring because it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just C major, kind of a sadder C major sound, super sad C major sound, C major sound. So that's cool, but it's pretty boring. But that's the function of tonic in your key. The other kind of chord that we have, or the other kind of function that we have, is the one that creates a sense of unfamiliarity. So this is something very distinctly different from the tonic. In music theory, they refer to this function of a chord as the subdominant. And that's going to be your 2 chord. In the key of C major, the diatonic chords of C major, your 2 chord is going to be D minor. And your other one is going to be F major, the 4 chord. So you can tell that these contrast a lot with the tonic sound, right? So if we're just hanging out on our tonic chord, like 1, and then we go to the 4 chord, you can tell that that's super different from the 1. If we were to do this for too long, it'd probably get super boring too. But that's already a chord progression. I mean, it's more interesting than just 1, 1, 3, 1, right? 1, 3, 1. That's all tonic. But once we start introducing that subdominant, very different from that tonic sound. 4, 2, 4, 2. It's kind of like a holding pattern. It's different enough from the tonic that it creates interest. And back to the tonic. Has a kind of weak sense of resolving, or, there's a sense of resolution. So that's cool. I mean, that's already showing you some of the functions of diatonic harmony. Then you have your dominant chords. So that's going to be your 5 chord and your 7 chord. And that creates a super strong urge or sense to resolve to the tonic sound. Right? You hear that all the time. You're very familiar with it. So yeah, that's essentially the 3 functions of diatonic chords. You have tonic, you have subdominant, you have dominant, and then back to your tonic. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So music is all about tension and release, consonance and dissonance, and those 3 functions, the tonic, the subdominant, and the dominant, just to reinforce those things. Those are just the tools that you use to interact with music and create interest by playing with those 3 things. So that's a very homey sound, tonic. It's your subdominant sound. That's a 2 chord, 5 chord, back to the 1. So that's a really common progression called 2-5-1. And yeah, it just really highlights those different functions you can use with diatonic harmony. So yeah, just to recap, the functions of the chords, right? So your 1 chord is tonic. Your 2 chord is like a mild subdominant. Your 3 chord is like a mild tonic. Your 4 chord is a bold subdominant. Your 5 chord is a bold dominant, very important chord, the 5. And your 6 chord is like a sad tonic. Your 7 chord is like a spicy dominant. And then back to the 1. That's it. So those are the functions of the diatonic chords. And you could add the sevenths to those or other extensions and make them more nuanced. Or just use the triads, whatever. So I like to say the 1 is the tonic. It reinforces the tonal center of the key that we're in. This is the home sound. If we're playing in C major, then this is home. And I'm just playing a C major and I'm adding the 9 on it. The 2 chord is like a mild subdominant. You can use this as part of like a holding pattern. It creates a mild sense of a need to resolve anywhere. Not anywhere in particular, just anywhere. Back to the 1. Tonic, subdominant mild. Tonic. I mean, you could make a whole song with just those 2 chords. And a lot of lo-fi does do that. These are all just the notes of C major. Okay, this is diatonic harmony. Okay, then we have our 3 chord, which is like a mild tonic. I mean, you can tell that sounds like the 1 chord, right? They're both tonics. And I'm just playing them in root position. It's that same function, the tonic, the homeness, whatever. 3 is just a little more mild because it doesn't have that root note, the C, which is the key that we're in, right? 4 chord, this is the bold subdominant. Really beautiful. And I'm just adding the 7th and the 9th on some of these because I like it. But you can tell by looking at the keyboard, I'm only playing white keys because we're in C major. So all of our diatonic chords are just going to be white keys. And I'm playing everything in root position. 1, tonic. 4, subdominant bold. 1. So you could just do 2, the mild subdominant, the bold subdominant. 2, 4, 2, 4, 1. Then we have our 5 chord, the all-important 5 chord. This is the dominant. That creates a really strong sense of needing to resolve to the tonic. So unlike the subdominant, which this is the 2 chord again, it just creates a sense of wanting to go somewhere. It doesn't want to just stay put here, right? Like if a song were to end right there, you'd kind of be left wanting to hear that resolution. Right? You know you would. So the 5 chord, the all-important 5 chord, creates that really urgent sense of needing to resolve back to the tonic. If you hear a song end on the 5 chord, you're going to be like not too happy because in your mind you're going to hear that resolution to the 1. So 5 chord, super important, creates an urgent sense to resolve to the tonic. Right? Then we have that 6th chord. I call this the tonic sad. It's the tonic chord again, but it's sad. It's a tonic function, but it's a sad tonic function. It's like the parallel universe where the tonic exists. It's like the sad home. It's still tonic. It's just sad. Right? It's just 6 and 1. 6, 1. Tonic and sad tonic. 6 chord. Okay, then you got your 7 chord. I call this one the dominant spicy. Very spicy, and it creates a really urgent sense to resolve back to the 1. You could play around with them all you want, and you could make tons of music using just those. And yeah, just to reiterate, we're playing in C major, so we're only using white keys. All of these are just white keys. All white keys. So now that we've taken inventory of our diatonic toolkit for chords, we can start writing music, and you can just literally do whatever you want. You could just pick chords at random and experiment if you want to. Like, you know, you got your 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 chord, and 1 chord. So you can just do whatever you want. 6 chord. This is my song and I love the song, and I'm gonna go to the 5 chord, then I'm gonna go to the 1 chord, gonna go to the 4 chord, to the 5 chord, to the freaking 1 chord, gonna go to the 2 chord, 3 chord, to the 2 chord, to the 3 chord, to the 4 chord, to the 5 chord, to the 6 chord, sad tonic, going to the 5 chord, dominant chord, going to the 4 chord, then going to the 1. Right? So you can literally just do whatever. Just have fun with it. But you'll notice some of them sound a lot better than other ones. And when you look at popular music, you're going to see that they all pretty much use the same chords. Okay, so now let's check out some basic chord progressions. This is the stuff you hear on the radio all the time, in songs all the time. It's just these same chords being used over and over again. See if you recognize the sound of any of these. You've heard them a million times. So this first one, 1, 5, 6, 4. Right? 1, 5, 6, 4. 1, 5, 6, 4. And you probably have something in your head right now that uses that same chord progression. It's super, super common. And okay, next, let's look at 6, 4, 1, 5. Does that sound familiar? So that's super familiar too. I know it is. You've heard it a million times. The next one is super common too. This is the 1, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Next, let's look at 1, 6, 4, 5. And let's change the drum beat so it doesn't get too monotonous. Ooh, so muddy. 1, 6, 4, 1, 6, 4, 1, 6, 4. Back to the 1. That's just adding some color with the sevenths and voice leading and stuff. So that's that. And then I want to talk about voice leading too, because that's pretty important. You might have looked at the last video or started messing around with Diatonic Harmony and been like, these actually sound not so good. It doesn't really sound like anything you hear on the radio. Maybe it sounds like something old from the 1800s or something. Doesn't really sound all that pleasant. It's kind of jarring, and that's just because all the chords are being played in root position. So the concept of voice leading is trying to keep those individual notes moving as little as possible between the chord changes. So if you play a C chord in root position, C, E, G, and then you want to play in the 3 chord, E minor, instead of moving the whole shape up and putting E in the root and putting E in the bass, you still have 2 notes that are the same between the 2 chords. So just keep those where they are. So go from your 1 to your 3, just by moving 1 note a half step. So voice leading is all about trying to go between chords by moving as little as possible. It just sounds way better. So in the really common progression 6, 2, 5, 1, it could sound like this if everything's in root position. 6, 2, 5, 1. Which is cool, it's just really jarring. 6, 2, 5, 1. Now here's the exact same chord progression, but using voice leading. Here's 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, It sounds so much better than... Right? Especially once you have somebody playing the bass, or if you want to play the bass on a keyboard or something with your left hand, then it really reinforces that tonality and the function of those chords. So your 6 chord, and then you have your 2 chord, 6 chord, then you have your 2 chord, then you have your 5 chord, then you have your 1 chord. Okay. Still, all white keys, just depends on how you use them. So that's cool. So voice leading, it's easier to play, it sounds less jarring, it keeps each individual voice of the chord as close as possible between the chord changes. And yeah, that's pretty much the concept of voice leading. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Okay, let's use some dominant chords. Okay, let's use some more subdominant stuff. So we already know we're 2, 1, that our home is here. Four chord. We're somewhere else now. Subdominant land. Back to the 1. It's a really pretty transition from the subdominant to the tonic, especially when you're going from the 4 to the 1. 4, 1. Four, 6. That's muddy. 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 6. Okay, anyway, that was fun. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And if you have any questions about harmony stuff, I would love to talk about more. Just let me know what you want to know about, and I'll do my best to make a video or respond or whatever. All right, thank you.